Yeah, the timer is the worst part. And we're live! Yay!
It's just like no one's watching the timer. That's the thing. It's like everyone's like, oh, I finally figured out what I'm doing. And it's like, oh wait, there's a timer.
Look, now we have a white table. What is this shenanigans?
We put the other table in the garage.
Yeah. We've learned the value of a tablecloth. So, we're back with Magic Maze. And if you're not watching, this is a bonus stream. So, Magic Maze, designed by Kasper Lapp, is published by Sit Down Games. Speaking of which, Zena just sat on my foot. But it is a real-time co-op of mass silliness, and Jonathan's going to teach it. But I will do a preamble. This is up for the Spiel Des Jahres in 2017, up against The Road to El Dorado or Wettlauf nach El Dorado.
Oh, yeah.
Wettlauf nach El Dorado, also known as El Dorado, I believe, in English. And King Domino. So, yeah, Steve and I have played all three, and we'll talk about that at the end. And now we will have streamed all three, so that's great. You can check someplace, doodly-doo, I guess, to see streams of the other nominations if you would like. And now we're going to learn
Should I tweet this also?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you tweet already?
I did.
Okay, here.
I also tweeted.
You did?
Yeah.
I quote.
Did you
I quote
me?
tweeted.
Oh, I didn't tag you on that
Okay,
one.
well,
I'm sorry.
that's why it didn't find me, so here, let me look for you here.
Sorry, I was like, surprise!
Oh, wait. There, oh. Now I just have to look for you something.
Doug, I don't know if
This
that's...
might just be mine now. I think I bought this one for me.
Tweets aren't loading right now. What?
What is that? Are you on our Wi-Fi? Do you want to be on our Wi-Fi?
I'm not on your Wi-Fi, I guess.
Oh, we have bad reception in our house.
Oh yeah, you should just Wi-Fi. It's
I
the
would-
friendship.
Okay.
And then the password is...
Don't see it on stream in case someone from the internet comes to our house. Actually, they probably would want the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, if we invite them to our house, they're going to want to know the Wi-Fi. Though if they drive around Portland looking for the network called the Friendship, that might be a problem. Okay, I'll just type it. It's also just easier to type it.
Just also, if anyone is surprised, our network is called the Friendship. So.
Then the 5G, the whatever other network on our router is called the Brig.
That's the guest network.
That's
All right. Here,
so the Brig with you, Jonathan.
Let me tweet that we're doing this, and then that way I can.
Yeah.
Oh, there's still an error. What? Maybe it's just my phone.
I just closed Twitter. Yeah.
Because my phone is old and sad. Well, in the meantime,
let's play. Also.
So,
I just want to explain, if you haven't watched a previous stream where there's a tablecloth, my hand is under the tablecloth because that is where the mouse is that I control the stream.
Wait, we have mice?
Yes, we do have mice, probably. So, hey, Vince! So that is why my hand will occasionally go under the tablecloth, if you were curious. Also, I really do like that cider.
How did it get over there? That's weird.
It's Square Mile cider, and I don't typically like cider, and Steve only drinks cider. And his cider is usually safe from me, but one night I was desperate and opened one of his Square Miles. And
the original, the normal.
I have not had a Square Mile I don't like yet.
Yeah, this one's ginger peach, ginger pear?
Ginger pear apple.
Because those are like all things that usually like ginger? No.
Yeah,
pear?
I don't
no.
either. I just really like these.
Yeah.
Okay, there. Now that I've tweeted, I can pay attention.
Yeah. Oh, man. Do you want one of these, by the way?
No thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Aren't we out?
She's like,
one.
too bad! Do you want one? Sorry. Okay, well, so the theme is, we are an adventuring party. We've got a mage and a barbarian and a dwarf and an elf ranger. And we have lost our adventuring gear. And so, like you do, we are going to the local Magic Maze Mall and stealing it from the store.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're great.
One of my favorite premises to a game that I've played in like the last year.
So this being a Magic Maze Mall, we don't know the locations. Like the tiles will get laid out as we play.
Yeah.
And we discover where things are. They have a very handy portal system, little warped portal system that lets you get around the mall more quickly.
Yeah.
And we are each looking for our store. So we have this little tile here. That shows the yellow guy is looking for a sword, and the orange looking for an axe, and the green one is looking for a bow and arrow, and the purple is looking for a potion. And they are to be found in the 4 stores that have their little symbols on them. And then, after we each get to the store, we steal the stuff, and mall security catches on, so that they shut down the warp system because they don't want us to get away.
Yeah.
And then we all run for the exits. And so when you first time you play this, you actually just use one color and everyone runs for the same exit.
Let's do that to start.
You want to do that? Okay.
No. Let's each have our own exit.
No. This color. Is very important.
Right.
We are not actually these
the four
people.
pawns.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can control any of the 4 pawns, but you have these little cards, and so they have, depending on the number of players, you use a different number of these cards. But everyone will get at least one direction that you may move people. Somebody will get 2, and potentially some other abilities. And so the lobby tile has a compass north on it, and you have to make sure that these, which are randomly distributed, are arranged so that your card is also pointing north. So, for example, I am allowed to move people north and east, and that's it.
Oh.
Tiffany can move people south, but she is also responsible for exploring when someone reaches the edge of a tile, and for moving up and down escalators.
This isn't going to go well.
And,
we're doomed.
And Steve is going to move people west, and he can use the warp tiles. Okay?
And uniquely, you can move in 2 directions.
And I can move in 2 directions. Now, depending on the player count, they'll split these up different ways, and it goes up to 8 players, and there's also a solitaire mode.
It says...
so you know what player count is. So do you want to do the 3 different exits, or do you want to do the 1 exit?
Can we do one game
All
with
we'll
one exit, and
but
then
we're going to
we'll
get through this
harder.
whole tile, right? This whole stack of tiles. We're going to start mixing those in, too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
All right. So the one other thing is everyone can move. You can move as far as you want in the directions shown on your card, but you can't move through other people, and you have to stop if you hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
To explore more tiles, you have to get someone. I don't know if you can see this. Well, all right. On the edge of this hallway here, there's an orange magnifying glass. And so when the orange character gets to that side, the person with the magnifying glass action will draw a tile.
Yeah, you're going to have to do it for me for a second.
And you will line it up so that there's a little white arrow on each tile, so that's where they will come in. So the goal initially is to start getting people to their appropriate exits and start laying out tiles until we can find all of the stores and potentially the exit. So right now, if we did this, we have found 3 of the 4 stores and 1 of the exits.
Very interesting.
And once everybody is on the stores, let's just pretend that we got there somehow really efficiently without finding any of the other tiles that didn't have stores on them. Once we hit all the stores, we flip this over to indicate that the warp is no longer available. And then we all try to make our way to the exit. And if we can get to the exit in time, then we win the game. We have a 3-minute timer. Once you start the timer, you're allowed to talk about strategy, but you cannot talk after, as soon as somebody moves a pawn, you have to stop talking. And during the heist, the only way you can communicate with someone is by taking this giant wooden pawn and putting it in front of them to indicate that you are hoping they are going to do something.
Repeatedly.
It is
Repeatedly,
the do something pawn. And so this gets passed around, and that's all you can. The only way you can communicate with someone, or you can stare intently at them. That's the other. That's the other way to
shifty eye contact works too.
And the one last thing is that some of the tiles have hourglasses on them. And if you step on an hourglass, we mark it with this little X to indicate that it has been used, because you can only use each one once. And then you flip the timer over no matter how much sand is left in it. So you don't want to step on it early in the game because you'll just run yourself out of time. You want to wait until you're almost out of sand. And every time the timer is flipped, we have another chance to talk and discuss things
before someone moves.
Until someone moves.
Yeah.
Are we going to play with the tiles, or you want to wait?
When do you pass?
You
when
pass.
You
so
flip the timer.
Right. When you flip the timer, you also pass your action tile clockwise, and that's another. The rulebook layers in the rules slowly,
which actually leads to a question. Eden asks, "What's the replayability of this game?"
So it is very high. Because what you do is they layer in rules. Eventually, by the time you are playing by the full rules, there is a whole stack of tiles where each of the 4 characters has particular strengths that they can use on particular tiles, and you end up with more and more tiles that you need to get through in the same amount of time, basically. Yeah. And then after you've played that, then they actually have, I think, 6 to 8 more scenarios that tweak the rules a little bit. So you can play once where you're not allowed to talk at all, or you can only do charades even when you're allowed to communicate, or you don't get this pawn, so you can only stare at each other. Or there's even one where the mall is on 2 planes of existence, and you can only get from one plane to the other by warping, and it gets very, very complex.
Yeah. That is my favorite variant that has been mentioned. I'm excited about
There's one that's the mix-up. It's the one where every person has to steal something that isn't theirs and then go to an exit that isn't theirs. But again, you're trying to figure this out without talking while you play. So it's...
I was thinking...
on that note, I think we should play the most basic game to start, and then our second game we'll add one in. That's kind of how we
games are
stream.
That sounds good. Yeah. All right, so this is the most basic version, which is we are not going to pass action tiles.
Okay.
And so you'll have the same action the whole game. And there's only one exit. Everyone is going for the same exit.
Okay, I'm going to quickly try and find the best camera for what we're doing. I think this might be the best camera. Well, so our hands are swapped.
Could we flip that so our hands weren't swapped?
Yes, I can flip that.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
That's perfect.
So this is how we're gonna do this. Let me see. What? Where's that? That is like barely in. That's fine. You can see the warps there.
Okay.
Let's move.
Well, because the thing is, you don't know which way you're going to explore, so, yeah.
And I'm in charge of that, so it's going to get crazy. Okay.
No, I want to advocate gaming responsibly, but I wonder if you could play this with a drinking variant, where once all the pawns got to their stores, you flip the warp tile over and everybody grabs a drink.
Oh, God.
Because you haven't
drinking while shopping. That's a bad idea. Have you ever done that? That's a horrible idea.
It's very expensive. But, after your 3rd or 4th game, you're on your 3rd or 4th cider.
Speaking of, okay, are we ready?
I think we're ready.
All right, chat. Y'all gotta keep us honest.
You can narrate for us because we won't be able to talk.
We're gonna be very quiet.
Speaking of quiet
but we can talk about it now, can't we?
We're gonna set the timer.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, right.
Timer's going.
Okay. I definitely feel that given the placement, we should just start exploring
Get to the
as much as possible.
Okay.
So
get everybody in front of their explorer.
Yeah. Sorry, let me pause for just a second. You do know how the warps function, right?
Oh yeah, that's super important. You're
we
in
want to make
charge
sure
of that
that
this game.
Right. So the way the warp works is you can pick up from anywhere, and the warps are destination. So you don't have to be standing on a warp, but you could pick up this orange person and move it to an orange warp from anywhere, or to any orange warp on the board.
Which is a good way to, for example, unblock.
Yeah, or to jump. Yeah, get people out of the way and jump to a spot. Okay, so we will.
Okay,
let's get the orange exploring.
Oh, all right.
And I have to match. Sorry, I've never done the
matched
part.
Yeah,
I did it right! Mm-hmm. Yay! Okay. Does that count as the right location?
Oh. Oh, interesting, because that's not...
Okay.
You broke them all! Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna put the timer.
And now we can talk until someone new.
Right.
Okay,
I was trying to get you to go here, maybe, but we needed to get to a timer because we were almost out.
Okay, we have 2 explore tiles left, by the way.
So
Yellow
we
could
found
go
the
here.
3 of the stores, but so we know that the exit and the last store are here.
So green can do that explore.
Right. Green can explore here.
Let's send green there and
then
yellow
can
here.
do that one.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, great. So for narration for the whatever, we now have all the tiles.
We found all the tiles, yep.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Okay, here, I'm going to pause for a second. We've gotten all 4 to the stores, so now we are trying to get to the exit, and so the warps no longer work, but everything else functions the same, and the exit is right here. So we need to move people to that exit.
Okay. Sorry, there.
Actually, it's me.
Okay.
Ooh, and we have 10 seconds left.
Okay. That's very quiet. So it was a full game of Magic Maze and we won! Yay! That was also the most basic game. Jonathan's played a lot. I've played quite a few times, and Steve's played a few times.
Oh, I'm doing it too.
Are we sure?
Yeah, it was. Ishi, do you want to go outside?
Oh, the pond.
Yeah, I think the pond
Well,
jumping
and
is
me
what got it.
the table.
Okay.
Alright.
So that was the very basic.
We're great at this.
So
I will say, this game probably would have felt super overwhelming if they didn't do the layering the rings.
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Sure.
now we feel great. We feel like we've totally got it.
Totally handle
Yeah, and then-
more.
Okay. Oh, they also have, I'll just show, they have an advanced side of the lobby that has just a lot more walls and no warps on the lobby. Right? So
That's awful.
You can't go back to it.
Yeah. And these are just randomized at the start. I just usually,
Okay, shall we...
So I think we'll throw in 2 new rules.
Great.
Right?
Okay.
One is the individual exits, so everyone has to get to their own exit. And so there's 3 more tiles to explore. And we'll also throw in the rule that every time you use a sand timer, you pass your action tile to the left. Okay? So do you want to start with a different tile?
Sure.
Here, we're going to mix them up.
Yeah, when did we get a black pillow for the couch?
Last year in July. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
What?
The same thing.
What? Okay,
Good job,
we'll
Steve.
just
It
we'll
was
just
meant to be.
rotate.
All right. So north is this way again. So you'll need to turn your tile north, and you currently have the
Oh no.
Explorer.
No.
However, the first time we use a timer, then you won't have the Explorer.
now I'm moving a different direction. Wait, we're not.
I talk a lot when I game. It's very difficult for me. You'll know I do this a lot.
We're not rotating the tiles every.
You are passing the
to
tile.
rotate. Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
when?
Every time the timer flips. So they put these little stickers on there so that every time you flip the timer, you go, oh, pass your action card.
Just make sure you pass your action card and maintain the
And then
orientation
maintain north. Yes.
of north, please.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not the game you play to relax.
Are you?
Just a nice relaxing game.
Nice relaxing
of God,
game
magic maze.
of stealing things from a magic maze ball. You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
That's not me.
Ooh, this is me.
It's me.
Oh man. Is that?
I'm not.
Okay. Let's do that front end. See, we need like silly, crazy, like da 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 music on this one.
Yeah, this is.
On this stream.
Oh no! Wait, is this here?
I think it was one more.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's me. Sorry.
Yeah. Up.
Wow, that's. The pronunciation victory is hollow, I think.
Hey!
Here, I'm flipping the timer. Okay, we can talk for a little bit. Yeah, I was.
I don't know what you want
Green
from me.
store.
Green
Green
needs-
store.
Well, but the thing
No,
is,
we gotta
need
get
to
all the
find
tiles out.
we gotta find at least all the stores and all the exits. Because if you go hang out at the store, then green is still needed to explore.
Okay, then
right?
orange.
So
orange
we need to get
explore.
orange to explore, green to explore, purple. So we need to get them to explore points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the heck is he? Yellow keeps getting shot.
And see, yeah, you're the one who can go up and around this way.
Okay, so let's orange
Okay,
explore.
I'm going.
Oh,
I'm
that's
smacking
me.
myself. Wait, what? What are you?
Orange explore.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Just Oh, you know what? Sorry. We're supposed to have passed these.
Because we flipped. Great. Let's just hurt our brains even more.
Alright. So now I'm
See you,
down and
Rubenstein.
explored. Alright.
Oh,
I'm
God, I'm
You're
right
that
in
way.
warps. We don't have all the tiles out.
no talking. Oops.
Oh, the cat just got into something.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Like, let's start with new time
Okay,
for this.
here,
Okay,
pass.
pass.
No!
Alright,
Great,
so we
I
just
can
gotta
do the
get
story.
yellow to the store. We got yellow to the store.
And we go, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, the warp's broken.
We have to all get to individual exits.
Right.
Oh. This game is 1 to 8. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, there.
Oh, timer.
Where's your timer?
Oh,
We have to rotate.
Oops. Yep.
Sweet Jesus. Okay.
No.
Yes! Oh, sorry.
No, that's not you.
Oh, I'm not down anymore. Good call. Yay!
Yeah!
So we used, so there's 4 hourglasses total, right?
Yeah.
And if you use each one perfectly, you'll have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because this is a 3-minute timer.
Whew.
So then they have like a little score chart, which is like basically you want to get through as many as you can with as few hourglasses as possible. So we use 3 out of the 4, but then of course you start layering in like this many tiles, and you don't get any more hourglasses in this entire stack.
Oh my goodness.
So basically, it just gets harder and harder, and you have to get more and more efficient.
Yeah, it's crazy. Woo.
And that...
You ready to throw in the rest of the tiles now?
Sweet Jesus, no. This is like security cameras.
Yes.
But
And
we
yeah,
could-
talk
we could-
about
I'll-
what adds. What adds?
So I'll tell you what else comes in, and let me just move these out of the way.
Do we want to do
Oh,
a third?
what's the best player count for this game? I played an 8-player and it was great.
Okay.
Right. I think 4 players is with 4 players you'll each have one direction, and the 3 special actions are distributed. So you'll have one player who has a direction but no special action. But I always I like throwing in the rotate tiles mechanic just because then everyone gets a chance to do a little bit of everything. But it's like you said, it's like you saw, it's hard to remember to pass the tiles.
Wasn't there one role where their only thing they do is...
One of the variants is you use fewer cards than you're supposed to. One fewer card. And one player, all they get is this pawn. And so they just go, they're like the captain.
They're the commander.
No, you!
That sounds like so much fun.
Once you play with 8 players, there will be 2 copies of every direction. And only one of each of the 3 special actions. So that 8-player works really well, too. I think where it gets a little funny is when you have 5, because you get the 4 different directions, the 3 different actions are spread among those, and then you have one person who can like just move east or something like that. And so you have like one person has east and explore, and the other person has just east, but there's no other copies of the other directions, so it's a little odd. It still works, I think, when you're passing.
Yeah.
But if you're playing the intro game, it does feel a little strange.
Is the passing an optional rule or something you do?
That's one of the full rules.
It's one of the full rules.
Right.
So it is intended.
It's one of the early. Yeah, it's one of the earlier rules that gets thrown in. I think right at the same time as the additional exits.
And that felt good.
And they will tell you all the tiles are numbered with little tiny tiles or little tiny numbers. But so I don't have them in order. But the things that get added, you have some tiles like this, where there is a little orange archway, and the dwarf is the only one who's short enough to walk through them. So everyone else has to walk around. That's his special ability that comes with tiles that are basically a penalty.
Yeah.
The wizard has a special ability. There are some tiles that have this purple crystal ball, and like the hourglasses, they're only one-time use. So when you step on that, you exit out, and the explore person is then allowed to draw 2 tiles and place them anywhere.
Nice.
So it's a bonus move. The yellow security camera is something that the barbarian has to step on to put an X on. And if there are 2 or more security cameras showing that have not been shut off, you're not allowed to use the hourglasses. So there's a penalty matched with a bonus. And then finally the elf ranger. Their ability is that every time you explore with the elf, there's this little speaker on the which way am I going? There. There's a little speaker there, and that means that every time the elf explores, you get a chance to talk again, just like the hourglasses, until somebody moves.
That's pretty
so
good.
It's extra
talking. And so then you can sort of strategize, be like, oh, we really need to strategize right now, so let's explore with the elf. You can save those. So they basically add all of these tiles, which you see have none of the points of interest, like the stores and the hourglasses and exits.
They just complicate
more things to run through and make your life hard while you're trying to look for the stores.
Yep.
That's great.
One thing I find interesting about both this and Captain Sonar is they're both real time and they both play with speech and information sharing.
Right.
I think that's an interesting thing to combine, or an interesting way to make real-time games interesting and compelling.
Yeah. And I think the way that this one gets around like alpha player problem, right, is the fact that was like I can only move south and I can't say anything except for the brief time that the timer flips. And when you do flip the timer, if you get someone who is just going on and on, you just move something and then they're not allowed to talk anymore.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a lot of fun.
Some of the art is kind of silly. There was a bar, I think,
Yeah,
that has like a giant is the bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have lots of little details that you will never...
It's a restaurant.
There's
the bar.
There's the bar. And there's also a vampire bar somewhere.
There's 2 bars.
Yeah, there's a couple copies of each thing, other than the special stores.
That's the bathroom.
There's a bathroom. There's a daycare. There's my favorite. I think is the photo minute. It's a photo booth where.
Here's the vampire bar.
Yeah.
The bloodies.
The photo booth has an artist inside the cubbyhole painting 4 pictures of the person sitting in the photo booth.
That's cute. Yeah. How does this play with kids? Because you're a great person to ask for that.
I have played with my kids. So my kids are 13, 10, and 4. The 4-year-old actually really likes this, but of course with her we don't play with the timer, but she totally understands I have only 1 or 2 movement directions, and she likes putting this pawn in front of people.
Yeah. Well,
obviously, the overall strategy can be a little tricky for her, but she knows, like, she's got the basic rules of I need to get to the stores and I need to get to the exit. We haven't thrown in all of this stuff with security cameras and everything. The 10-year-old has enjoyed it some, but she also tends to get stressed out. But everyone, I mean, it's like people stick this pawn in front of you. You're just kind of like,
I get stressed out.
I don't know what you want me to do. But she has. I think she likes to play it when we have a lot of people. I don't think she likes to play it as much when there's like like 3 or 4.
I can see that would be nice if 2 people can move east. Then there's someone else to catch it.
Right. And the other thing is, once you have like 8 players, you do tend to get a focus of like moving a lot of pawns at once, as opposed to during the exit, we're like, well, we left the wizard way over there.
We like
ignored him until we got everyone else out. But if you actually have like 2 sets of people with directions, you can be moving 2 or 3 of them towards exits at the same time.
Would that make it start to get a little easier when you add more tiles to also add more players? I don't know. I wonder if it kind of balances out.
Right. It could.
Because it's more frantic with more players. But
right. Because you also can get people moving in the wrong direction. I think one of the hardest things is always keeping an eye on the timer, because everyone's looking at what they can move, and you never have any sort of designated person looking at the timer. But even if someone notices the timer,
they'll forget about it when somebody does this.
Right.
Yeah.
And and technically you're not supposed to put the
One thing I do.
So there's the little on the top of the hourglass. There's a little symbol that's supposed to look like
rotate
the cards, but
they tried.
You forget.
No, one thing I think is interesting about this, I've played other heist games that are more, say, turn-based, or more about the kind of like stealth and like efficient passing or efficient pathing. And this definitely gets the frantic element. Those other ones might be, I only have 1 turn to make the right move, and there's nothing I can do. I'm going to get caught or something. But this has that frantic time element that really feels more like a heist type of frantic. Oh God, we only have 2 minutes left.
Right.
I don't know. I like that. It's a different style. Than we only have 2 turns to get out.
Right.
We set off the alarm or whatever.
It's like you can move as much as you want, but
it's about attention and tunnel vision and communication. And...
Right.
It's a very interesting game. It's very unique, I think. Also, it amazes me that they all work. Like, because of where the searches are and the explorers, you never end up in a situation where it's impossible to place a tile. Like, you'll definitely have dead ends.
You do get dead ends, right.
But you never end up in a situation where it's like, oh, we need to place a tile and it's physically impossible to place a tile.
They're all just offset by 1.
Yeah, it's the little things. It's nice.
Also, the offset by 1 puts white space, cloth, in between the tiles, which makes them pop a little better. If they were on a perfect grid, I think they would get lost.
Yeah. It's slick. I definitely know why it was nominated. I mean, I think it's great. I think the reason we don't own one is because we, for the most part, play 2 or 3 player. But this is a game where, like, honestly, the next time my brother texts me and goes, "What's a good party game?" I'll just tell him Magic names. Yeah. So, because he does that about once a year. He's due soon to text me. It's usually around 4th of July or his birthday. So yeah, I think this is one that, like, I'll probably get. If he doesn't get it, we'll probably get it, and we'll leave it in Colorado, and we'll play it with our family in Colorado. So.
Yeah. So these are all the tiles, depending on how many players you have. So, and they're double-sided with different.
Yeah, because you can play solo, and you can
play
play 2 player.
The solo one uses these, and that one is actually a kind of a time. Almost a dexterity element. Basically, you have a stack of these, you shuffle them, and you flip them over 1 at a time.
Oof.
And that is the one that you're currently allowed to use. So you're basically trying to cycle through and go, I can move east. I'm going to move as many of them east as I can before I flip to the next tile, because it's going to be 8 or, however many tiles it is before I get to east again. I think maybe 7. I think there's 1 in each direction, and the 3 special
So
actions.
for what mode is that?
That's for solo.
Solo?
That's solo.
And you're only and technically you're supposed to use one hand, right? So you're just sitting there flipping these tiles and moving things around with one hand.
Steve's already like,
As quickly as
sweet,
you
I
can.
need this for solo play. That's what that was.
So I usually play solo games to relax and AP as much as I
I
want.
just like this pod.
So this is like
it's just a nice feeling.
precisely not the type of game I usually look for when I want to play solo. Like I just want to sit there and just absorb the current strategic state of the game for like 15 minutes.
He
And
does
not take
that.
a turn.
Yeah,
I do that.
That's why solo Steve streams are few and far between. Because he has to be in a not I want to relax in a game mood. Because if he wants to relax, it's just going to be a 6-hour stream for a 2-hour game.
It'd be like, those fireplace stream, like...
Oh, yeah!
This is Steve playing a game.
Yeah,
I love
very relaxed.
but like, I love hanging out on the couch reading a book while Steve plays a game. It's great.
Because then I just yell stuff at you and you tell me, I'm like,
you don't
what should
even
I
yell.
do?
You don't even yell. You're just like, hey, what would Jim and Bob do?
And then we talk about Jim and Bob's relationship history and how far they went back and... maybe one of their friends that had been going through a rough time, so it was weighing on them, and they were having a tough time with the mission, and just, it's just,
Yeah.
Just go into that.
So Jonathan, you've only played King Domino and Magic Maze.
Right, I've not played
out of the 3 finalists for Spiel Des Jahres. But between this and King Domino, what do you think?
It's a really tough call. I really liked King Domino. I haven't written my review of this yet, partly because it's not in the U.S. yet.
Yeah.
It was available in Canada, and I got it through Dude Games, who's going to be distributing it in the U.S. So he sent me a copy, but I think it's coming in August. It's coming to the U.S. in August, so I've been holding my review till sometime in July to be a month ahead.
Which makes sense.
But it's been one of my favorites.
I was going to say, like, you've made us play it, or you've attempted to make us play it.
Yeah, you talked about it, but like the first time we saw you after you had played it, you're like, okay.
Right. I mean, I've had it since May, I think, and so I've been like, I want to write this up, but I can't yet. So just play it with me. So I've already played this probably about 30 times.
Yeah. And he's not exaggerating.
And I mean, it's a short game, so every time I sit down to play it, I play it 2 or 3 times. King Domino is one I have played several times already. I did give that like our Geeked Out approved stamp because I really like that one as well. That one, I think it works well with all player counts, 2, 3, and 4. I love playing. My 10-year-old plays it, and we play the 7x7 grid version, which is really fun.
Is that in the rules?
Yeah, it's a variant with 2 players. You use all the tiles, and you get up to a 7x7 grid.
We should try that. We haven't done that.
It's great.
We should try that.
If you're playing 2 players, you might as well just use all the tiles.
Yeah.
And I think between the two, like I feel like King Domino may have a broader appeal because it's a little more traditional, right? It's a tile laying, you get scoring, you have it's a strategy style game.
Yeah.
It really, for me, it scratches the Carcassonne itch because I really love Carcassonne, but it's like, but it plays in like 15 minutes, and I like that bidding mechanic where you're bidding on like if I take the better tile, I go later in the turn order of the next round. I think that's a little brilliant way to just introduce like that instead of drawing a random tile each time.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, I love real-time games, so not everyone does. I play a lot of games real times with people who are like, okay, I'm just totally stressed out and I need to take a break for an hour now because I just played this game. But I think that one of the earliest real-time games I played, besides Ice Towers, which is like Looney Pyramids, years and years ago, was Escape.
Oh, yeah.
Escape, the temple.
I like this way more than Escape.
Right.
Like,
and I liked that one,
more.
A lot at the time. But it's like, but the timer thing, the sort of restriction is just the fact that you're rolling dice, you're trying to get the numbers. Whereas this is like, you get to make all the decisions, but you just don't know what, like you're trying to communicate your decision to other people. And I think I like this one a lot more than Escape. I love the fact that it goes anywhere from 1 to 8 players. And it's easy to teach the base level version of it. And that it has that expandability of, okay, we've mastered the one exit. Let's
Yeah.
throw in four
Let's do
exits.
more.
Now, okay, we've mastered the 4 exits. Let's start throwing in the whatever the little low archways and things. So I've only played. I haven't even gotten to all of the tiles yet, actually, in the 30 plays because I keep introducing new people.
Next time we play, we'll add a new rule.
Right. So I love the fact that it's a game that will continue to grow, and I think, slowly as you play with different people, right?
Yeah.
If you play with the same people, you could probably get up to all 24 tiles.
Oh, easily.
Quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And the fun thing, you could definitely make this we play this every week at game night, but we play this every week at game night at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Super easily. Like, we could have John, if we, if we had a game night with 5 players,
right,
we could totally be like, sweet, this week we're going to play this 3-hour game, and then we'll play Magic.
And we'll play the next
one
more
rule.
Maze. Yeah, one more.
Because the thing is, the game maxes out at 15 minutes, no matter how many of those tiles you throw in. Like, your time runs out at 15. Like, there's no way to get more than that.
One thing I find interesting about both this and Captain Sonar as real-time games is the randomness is minimized, and most of the variability comes from, like, player information sharing and malleability. Like, in this, the only randomness is the tile shuffling, I think.
Right.
Or at least in the rules I've had.
Like,
that is.
And it's
well,
very much...
who gets what?
Who gets what tile.
And who gets what tile. But once it's set, it's still player determined.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas something like, although I never actually got it to the table, the Space Cadets Dice Duel or something like that, and maybe Escape, it's real-time dice rolling, trying to get to a result. And I think that can be... I haven't played those. I did design a prototype of a real-time game that was dice rolling and movement and kind of like that. It was very frustrating to not get the random result in time. Like, maybe you're doing a press your luck, but it's limited time and you're being messed up by the dice. So in this, it's like, once the tiles are set...
If you're messed up, it's your fault.
If you're messed up, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And, like, I can see a situation where, we saw it a couple times, there's 2 explorers pointing to the same area.
Right.
And maybe if someone uses the wrong one and it blocks the other, another player's like, why did you do that?
Right.
And it's your fault.
Right.
It's not, it's not the game's fault for drawing the tile as much as it is for someone doing something too early or too late. Or, so I like that. It seems like a good way to approach a real-time game, is rely on the players screwing stuff up rather than the resolution dice.
Right.
Yeah. I think if we're going to talk Spiel Des Jahres, I think... it's kind of weird because the Spiel Des Jahres is supposed to be the game of the year. Like, it's the game that's for anyone, not just hobbyists. And so when you put it in that light, I can definitely see why this has been nominated. And King Domino. And I can see why Eldorado has been nominated, but, like, from having played Eldorado, I just don't find Eldorado, like, that interesting. And I don't know if Eldorado would be that interesting to a non-gamer as well, or if I don't find it interesting because... I'm jaded. And, like, I've played deck builders. Like, there's some interesting stuff with the market in Eldorado, but it's not, like, I'm not itching to play it. I'm actually, like, does anybody want my copy kind of thing.
But I think we did bring up when we played it that Eldorado is very much... It feels like a good way to teach deck building because it's very concrete why you're building the deck. It's the card in your deck is hexes you can move to. I think it's not... Some of the games, maybe if you're teaching deck building, it's also combined with, like, say, something like Dominion, like an engine build, or trying to figure out how to get points or something.
Yeah,
well, and it has an extra strategic layer, whereas Road to Eldorado is we're trying to get to the end of the map. You can see I need forest cards by the time I get to the forest area.
Yeah, but there's some tension. So Vince says Eldorado looks dull and boring, mechanically very tight. Where's the tension? And the tension is in people buying cards out on the market that you might need later, and also people physically blocking you on the map.
Yes.
That's where the tension is in that game. So if at a certain point it's a mad dash, people aren't going to hang out and just block you. They'll move in a certain way to make your life a little bit harder, but they can't just stop you.
One thing I like very much about it is, in terms of people blocking, is when you pick sort of a route in Eldorado, you have to kind of commit to it. For example, like if I'm taking a shortcut that involves needing the village tiles, I need to go through 3 or 4 hexes of village tiles to get out of it. Or I can say, I'm going to take the long way around, and it'll take longer, but maybe my deck is better suited to that. And you have to kind of own that.
So you're not going to, like, back up go halfway down the shortcut and then decide you're going to
because your deck is you're optimizing it for a certain type of thing. So I think that's kind of where some of that it feels like a race very much. Like I went left and now I need to do that with my one pawn.
I think it would be interesting to play with kids, but it also has the same player restriction as King Domino, so it's 2 to 4 players. Right. Whereas I don't know, like it's really interesting because out of last year's nominations, it was Imhotep, Karuba, and I can't remember the third one, so that's apparently how good it was. But like I really wanted Karuba to win because I really like Karuba way more than Imhotep when it comes to like introducing games with like casual gamers. Like if I sit down and I tried to teach my mom Imhotep and she didn't care. It was just whatever. Like that's not her game. And when I think about playing Eldorado, Magic Maze, or King's Domino with my family, I'm like, my brother will absolutely love this. But like my mom and sister-in-law, we sat down and we played King Domino, and like I forced my mom into playing. I guilt-tripped her into playing it with me because I was like, we were on vacation. I was like, I haven't played a single freaking game. I brought a suitcase of games. Please just play this with me. It's 15 minutes. And I taught my mom, and I roped Steve into playing too. And so we were playing, and like we were setting up, and I explained the rules, and my sister-in-law was like sitting next to my mom, and she had said no originally to playing. And by the time I finished the rules explanation, she was like, "Oh, I want to play." Yeah. So like and everybody that I've introduced King Domino to, even though I like drag them to the table sometimes, they enjoy it in the end, and they enjoy it. Like they think it's puzzly, they think it's interesting, they like how it works. I think that this has a similar appeal. And it's quick, and it fits that niche of, like, I can drag someone to the table and get them to play this. I just wonder if the feeling of, like, a party game, it's not really a party game, but it kind of has that vibe. Right. If that makes sense?
It's a loud, raucous game, but it's not what I would usually call a party game.
Right? Yeah. We're all we're shouting, we're funny, we're getting worked up, and we're working together, kind of like how we would with, any party game, like Codenames or Heaven Forbid Cards Against Humanity and things like that, or Word Slam, which came out at Origins this year,
or Braintopia, which is one we played a bunch.
Which also is very similarly like a raucous game. Like I don't know if this is something, if that is a plus or a minus for this game when we talk about the Spiel Des Jahres.
Yeah, I think this very much feels like a stand up and move around the table and get excited and into it kind of game. So.
It's interesting to me that the with the Kinderspiel that like they had Ice Cool, right?
Codenames, that was it. It was no. Codenames wasn't up against Karuba. Oh yes, it was Imhotep, Karuba, and Codenames, and Codenames won.
Oh, okay,
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
Karuba was
I was shocked that Imhotep won, and I wonder if was nominated, was a finalist. I wonder if Road to El Dorado is kind of the Imhotep this year, if that makes sense. And this is sort of the Codenames, and Karuba is essentially analogous to King Domino.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that it's great that it was a finalist, but you know it won't win. Like it's the
right.
Yeah.
But Ice Cool won for the Kinderspiel this year, and I was like, oh, I mean, it's funny to me, like, I don't know, one, because I don't know that I would have thought of that as a kids game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I would have. I mean, not that kids can't play it, but I put that similar to this. I don't know what it is. This is 8 and up. Like it's a. I don't know. It's I guess the dexterity game. Kind of surprised me that was in that particular category or at all.
It would, yeah.
I wonder if well, now I'm just speculating, but if this maybe has more of a higher end appeal or like higher age or higher complexity appeal, whereas Ice Cool maybe is more of a like it's fun but doesn't have that tactical intensity to it.
It doesn't have staying power with adults, I don't think. Right. Like when people tell me Ice Cool, like literally my fingers have phantom pains. When people are like, "Oh, have you played Ice Cool?" Like literally just us talking about it right now, I'm getting like phantom like finger pains.
I love the dexterity flicking games, so that's what appeals to me about that one. But I was like, it's not like if I'm going to give my kids a flicking game, or if I was to say, here, like this is the best one for a kid. Like Ice Cool has all those crazy things you can do with the penguins that it's really hard to do without a lot of practice.
Yeah, like going up and
you
over
say
the
that.
hallway,
Up
up and
and
over the
all,
walls.
and then
yeah.
like the curving around walls.
I mean,
and
you
stuff.
say that, but like my Pokemon kids, I see what they do with fidget spinners. Like,
Right.
you give them enough time with a copy of Ice Cool.
Yeah, okay.
And like they be doing stuff. Like, do you remember
Right.
those skateboards? Like
Yeah,
the finger skateboards? Like kids could do stupid stuff with that. Like amazingly stupid stuff.
And maybe that's
So-
part of it. Is just
Right.
like it's the kids that will want to max out
Yeah,
on
I
Ice
guess
Cool,
so,
whereas
yeah.
the adults will be like, it's neat.
Yeah, I
know.
played Ice Cool. We own Ice Cool. I pull it off to show people occasionally when they're like, "What do you mean you're like board games like Monopoly?" Like,
I'm just like,
And they're-
no.
and they're like, "Oh, like Cards Against Humanity." I'm like, "No, we play good stuff. Like
Like
this
Ice
team
Cool.
like flipping game. Like, don't you almost slammed my beer." So yeah. Anyway, I don't know. We could speculate all night,
Yeah.
literally, about
When do they?
I think it's Gen Con.
Is it Gen Con?
I
Okay.
think it might be
Like, do they
close
do
to
they
Gen Con
space
or
out the
July.
Kenner Spiel too? Like, is that
They'll
later?
do the
'Cause-
Kenner and the Spiel des Jahres at the same time.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Just the Kinder was earlier
Yeah,
because that was just like this month.
yeah. Oh, we love Rampage.
I have never played it.
I love Rampage so much.
Oh,
You love Rampage so much, you
You
have
know,
intentionally never played it.
I have only played Rampage when it first came out at Gen Con, and they had the giant
the
version.
giant, yeah.
And so I got to play with the where like the meeples are like this big and you drop it and they had the
Yeah.
it was fantastic. And then it took me a while to finally get a copy. And then I haven't played my copy.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, you're right. Is it Essen? It might be Essen.
Oh,
they're
they're
announcing
that
something
probably-
at Gen Con.
Okay.
I just need to run the translation on their website because
Mm-hmm.
they have something for Gen Con announcement
Okay.
date. So they're doing something at Gen Con. I don't know if it's the Kenner or if it's the Spiel. But they might be doing the Kenner at Gen Con and then the Spiel at... EG is streaming. She's like running?
She's
Oh, she's
Jump
running
out.
really intense in her dream. There she goes. She caught it. Whatever she was doing, she stopped. Whatever she was chasing. Alright.
We'll figure. I mean, at this point, we might put when the things are going to be announced in the doobly-doo. Maybe.
If I can figure it out, I can figure it out. And the German translation doesn't translate it correctly, so I don't even know. Cool. I personally, if I was on the committee for the Spiel des Jahres, I don't know what I'd pick. It would not be Vetlach nach Eldorado. Because I just feel like it's like Imhotep. It's like it's too hard to sell. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I think about having now worked at a game store and trying to sell Karuba versus Imhotep versus Codenames. Like, people buy Codenames hands down every time. Like, I cannot convince people to buy Imhotep or Karuba. Or, you know what I mean? But, like, if I'm like, Codenames, word game, fun, do words. They're like, sweet,
Bunch of
$20,
people.
done.
Yeah. 10 players or 8 players
Right.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Codenames is what? Any number of players.
Yeah, it's whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I imagine Codenames Duet will be in a similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just sell it to anybody, I imagine.
I want to say that King Domino would win, but I honestly don't know, considering Codenames won last year. Like, I could have... I knew Codenames was going to win, because Codenames is just fantastic. But, I'm really torn on this year. I really am. I love King Domino. Absolutely. I think the versatility of this game gives it a strong chance in the Spiel des Jahres because it's meant to be the everybody's game of the year for casuals and for hobbyists. And this, I feel, fits the board a little bit better for that. I don't know if the rules and the layering are too complex, potentially, but...
You know, I feel like King Domino feels like a game, kind of evergreen game, that once it's in your collection, you could probably just keep around.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Magic Maze, it feels like a game that you could kind of play out or use up. I don't know. I mean, you're the one that played it 50 times. So it's like if you're playing with the same group every night, maybe after
like
a
eventually,
year.
right? They have a little score sheet thing here. Achievement sheet or whatever.
You're gonna get amazing at this and stop playing.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's gonna take a long time.
Right.
You're probably gonna get
Scenarios,
bored
right?
of it before
Here's
you get
for all
amazing.
your scenarios, and you can write down like, I guess how many tiles were in it. I'm not. I gotta figure out what this.
Oh, there's a thing for timers.
But how many
and time-
timers
yeah,
you
yeah.
use, right? But basically, you can start filling this out, and then on this side, I don't know. I don't understand what this side is for.
But I feel like that's fine.
But
like,
right, you
can,
like okay. I mastered this game.
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is, right, like King Domino, you're going to be playing against other players, and so you're both getting better. So there's never going to be a point where, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? Because the other person can get better.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is, at some point, you will have beat the highest, like, all of the different scenarios. It's going to take a while, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at some point, you could beat all the scenarios, and I think, like what they said, Max versus Minions, okay, well, you can still play them. It's still going to be fun, but it's not going to be, it's going to be, well, I've done it before.
Yeah.
I don't really need to anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that as far as like Spiel Des Jahres, that's fine.
Right.
Like if you're so into it and you love it so much and you play it that many times, like you got your enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
So who knows? You also have to remember that the Spiel des Jahres is meant to be the German game of the year, and the Germans have a very different culture when it comes to board games, like intensely different. Like when we go to Germany, there's a toy store that I like to go into that's in Munich, and its game selection is bigger than a lot of game stores in the U.S. And I mean that very seriously. The game selection is just amazing, and when you go to Essen and you interact with people, the family days, like Saturday and Sunday, when people take trains and come in, it's massive, it's huge, and you're playing games with just casual people that aren't really hobby gamists. So it's a different culture and it's a different mindset, and so I don't know how much the judges take that into consideration when they talk about the Spiel des Jahres specifically for Germany, but it's just something to think about.
Yeah, and just because it doesn't win doesn't mean it's not your favorite game or your group's favorite game or whatnot.
Yeah. So there you go. Vince is talking in the chat about how he doesn't really care about the Spiel des Jahres, which is fair. The Portugal's Hugo de Año is way more up his alley. And the Golden Elephant, which is from Heavy Cardboard, who also does streams now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, though they start an hour and a half before ours. Sometimes an hour before ours. No, sometimes 2 hours before ours, because time changes.
And heavier games. So.
Yeah, and they do a lot more heavy titles. Like, they specifically do heavy titles like Arkwright, and they did a Lignum stream as well, and they do... They did an 18XX stream before us. They do significantly, like, Vinos and, like, Gallerus and like, super heavy titles that just, we would do, but, like, we're on the West Coast, and so that stream would just go really late.
Yeah, like, for our 18XX, we had to do a weekend stream, and it was,
oh, yeah.
What was it? Was it 7 hours? No, 5 hours?
It was 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah. That's a weekend stream.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. All right, awesome.
All right.
Thank you for watching. I hope this was somewhat informative for you. If you are curious about Magic Maze and or the Spiel des Jahres competitors, if you're still watching this and you're not live in the chat, you're amazing. You're awesome. You should try and join us for the live streams. It's super fun. We have people hanging out in the chat. We have a great chat crew. I love our chat crew. We have some regulars in here that are my favorite people in the world.
For sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, the people watching make this a lot of fun for us too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, this was funny. Kabuki Kids, like, Heavy Cardboard even does stuff that isn't as heavy, like Scythe or Terraforming Mars. Which is true, but for, like, most gamers, Scythe and Terraforming Mars is a little heavy. It's a little heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of
as far
overlap.
as the Spiel des Jahres, panel is concerned, Terraforming Mars is heavy.
Yeah.
That's why it's,
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
And that's probably where our overlap is with them. Like, like Terraforming Mars, Scythe, and Lignum are probably on the heavier end for us, and that's maybe like the lower end for Heavy Cardboard.
Yep. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Next streams. Vince wanted to know what the next streams are. We are not doing another stream tonight. We're going to walk our dogs because that's important. They got like a mini walk. We're also going to let Jonathan escape the cat allergy house. Thank you, Jonathan, so much for coming for both streams.
Thanks for having me. That was fun.
Where can people find you and your stuff?
On geekdad.com. If you go to geekdad.com, that's where I post all my reviews. And I'm on Twitter at Jonathan H. Liu.
Yep. Jonathan does a lot of Kickstarter reviews. If you ever come to Portland and you want to play something that might be coming on Kickstarter soon,
then find me on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm just inviting people to your house now.
Well, that's fine.
I don't know. I
just look for the meeple on the door.
It's literally, it's like a speakeasy. Like, it's legit. Like, it's a basement, like, crawl, half sunken door, and there's a meeple, and it's like a thing. It's great. I love it.
I want to get a meeple brass knocker.
You should.
Like, I haven't seen any. I
You
want
just
someone
gonna have
to.
You have to get someone
I want
to
someone
cast
else
it. Yeah.
to run a Kickstarter for a brass meeple knocker. Because I don't want to run a Kickstarter.
No, just
do the Kickstarter just for yours.
Just for mine.
This
Kickstarter.
You live in Portland.
If we fund this Kickstarter,
just find
I
an
get
amateur
a
blacksmith.
brass meeple knocker.
But you can send postcards and T-shirts of the brass knocker.
Right. And if you back it and you're in town, then you can use the knocker.
The knocker.
You can use the knocker.
Oh, that's.
And I'll let you in. And you can play a game.
There we go. Yes. But for serious, Jonathan has a game collection that is larger than ours, and I often advertise that.
It doesn't rival ours. It would crush
It
ours.
makes
If
me
we
feel
put Jonathan's
better
collection
about
on
myself.
our collection, it would physically crush our collection.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
it needs some weeding.
but it's great. I just love looking. He has stacks, like literal library stacks of moving cards.
Yeah.
I love going through his stacks. There's some really good
You
stuff.
can get lost in the stacks.
Get lost in stacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the library.
So I was gonna say the next stream we are playing Exit, which is the Kenner Spiel Des Jahres game, which is the only one we haven't streamed yet. We're going to be playing that Sunday. I don't know if we're going to stream it or not. It kind of depends on the people that are coming to play with us and if they want to stream it. If we don't stream it, we will definitely be doing some sort of video thingy where we talk about our thoughts about it in regards to their games. And we'll do that with definitely one of the
List
people.
Of spoilers.
Oh, yeah. But we have a spoiler dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have
Great.
we have a spoiler system.
If the spoiler dog is on the table, don't unmute.
If you care about spoilers, yep. So we'll be doing Exit on Sunday at some point, probably 3 if we're going to stream it. I'll tweet it, just be aware on Twitter, and you can also check this page, the live page, and it'll tell you what the next scheduled stream is when I have that. Otherwise, Tuesday we will be streaming Samara, which was my number 6 from Origins. It's from TMG Games, and it's a reprint of the 2015 game from the Italian publisher whose name I've forgotten. So I'm excited about Samara. There's some interesting calendar worker placement stuff. And then on Thursday, we're going to be streaming Fox in the Forest. Just Steve and I. No special guests. Steve actually finally played Fox in the Forest last night. He played one hand, and then he wanted to fall asleep.
I was so tired. I was just like, I was like, this is trick taking that works really well with 2 players.
He just couldn't keep his eyes open.
Yeah.
And yes, Vince, we were playing Exit with Felix, and Felix will very happily record his thoughts and feelings about the game. I just don't know if Felix's fiance can be on camera, because some people that we have come visit us can't be on the internet for legal reasons in regards to their job. So I don't know if her job is one of those situations. It very well might be, in which case we wouldn't be able to stream, and also she would not be in the Final Thoughts video. So there's that.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then I have a calendar now of schedules. And then on Tuesday the 11th, we'll be streaming Unearth, which is coming at Gen Con, so you want to tune into that to see what's going to go on with that. And then on Thursday the 13th, we're going to play Codenames Duet. I believe that is what is scheduled. If something else arises, I will let you know.
I'm so happy we have a calendar now. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, well, it might actually change.
Yeah, subject to change.
Yeah. There's only 3 Exit games. We'll be playing Pharaoh's Tomb. If you want to tune in for the beginning where we talk about the rules explanations, you can feel free, and then we'll put the spoiler dog out, and then you can just leave. That's cool.
There's a couple different, I don't want to say brands, but there's 3 Exit games, there's 3 Unlocks, and then there's another one, I forget what it is. Maybe
there's
Escape the Room.
Escape the Room, which is Think Fun. That is definitely for a younger audience.
For a younger audience.
Yeah, they're I've only played one so far, but it was fairly light. It was one that I played with my kids, so it works well with younger kids, but it's definitely not comparable to some of the real world escape games as far as difficulty of puzzles and things. I'm
actually really glad we did play a real world escape game once, so that we can kind of incorporate that into our thoughts about escaping Exit.
Vince, speaking, Unlock is a 60-minute game. It's definitely 60 minutes. There's an app required. Exit is anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, and there is no app. And it's also a legacy game.
Just in terms of what they actually look like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Asmodee just announced 3 more Unlock games.
I liked
this
the
week.
Unlock. We did the promos. when we finish Sausage and Squeak, you can have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
And that's probably the fun part, is it doesn't get destroyed.
Right.
It's
one time. Okay. No destruction. Yeah, the Think Fun Escape the Room
I think
ones
that's on, I don't know.
have you open an envelope,
Yeah.
but it does give you instructions for what envelopes to put everything back in.
Oh, that's nice.
And so it's like, they won't get to tear open an envelope, but, you still have, like, everything inside, hidden inside envelopes. So you can play it again, too, yeah.
I was going to say, Vince, we haven't met Felix's fiance either. They started, this is now personal time with Vince. They started dating about 3 months before our wedding, and so we were it was a very, 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 very small private wedding, and we weren't super comfortable with inviting her to our wedding, considering the size of the wedding, and, basically only immediate family was invited, so, grandparents and aunts and uncles weren't really invited.
And that's the whole, that
You've
invite has to be months before. Right. So it's you've been dating for 3 months, the wedding's in the wedding is as far away as you've been dating.
Yeah. So we have actually never met her. We are super excited. There's kind of been a joke running that she doesn't actually exist because we are the only people in the friend group that have not met her. So that'll be interesting.
The Kabuki kid is asking about the one with the plastic gizmo. Yes, there's one from Spin Master. Spin Master Games has I think those are also called Escape Room. Maybe Think Fun's is Escape the Room.
Yeah.
And Spin Master, because we did they had a promo
Escape Room in a Box. I've heard that one.
They have a promo Escape Room at Gen Con last year to sell you could run through this small 1-room escape room or 2-room escape room. And then they had but they have the little Escape Room in a Box. Yeah, and it's got a little key, the gadget.
Cool.
I think when I was volunteering at Broken Token at Essen, their booth was across from ours.
Oh.
And I was interested, but didn't actually. I didn't really know what it was, so I never, it didn't pique my curiosity enough to go check it out.
Yeah. Escape Room in a Box, amusingly.
Right, and then there was the Kickstarter, right.
Yeah.
Right. That was I do remember seeing that one. And then all these other companies came out with theirs.
Yeah. Well, it's actually really funny because you know that they kind of had them in the works for a while, and they're also larger companies that could pull it off. Because Inca and Marcus Brand are not. They're not they're busy people. They do a lot of stuff, but they actually did one of the Exit games. Oh, okay. So different designers do different games. Marcus Brand,
is that
that's Village?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They are hot capital.
Actually, think about it, and the Unlock games and probably Exit 2 are also real-time games.
Yeah.
Just thinking.
Yeah.
About that.
But yeah, okay, we're gonna let Jonathan escape the cat house. We're gonna go walk the dogs. Thank you again, chat, for hanging out, and thank you for watching. We'll see you all Sunday, and if not Sunday, we'll definitely see you Tuesday for sure, playing Samaro, which again, my number 6, from Origins, that nobody's been talking about. I'm a little afraid that means it's not good. But we'll find out!
We're either ahead of the curve, or it's not good.
It's not good.
We'll hope it's ahead of the curve. Anyway.
We'll see.
Alright, well...
Okay.
And speaking of we'll see you on either Tuesday or Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you. Just follow on Twitter and check the scheduled stream. We'll know more tomorrow night on whether or not we're going to be streaming Sunday. So, yeah. Awesome. Thanks again, Jonathan. And thanks for watching. Bye! Bye! See, and now we say bye, and we wait for a minute, and then the chat will actually say bye, and then we know the buffer has caught up, and we can just stop.
Because with some of our early
See, there we go. See, night. And so then we're just okay, bye!